never turn to stone. Don't believe in all you hear and only have what you see. Trapped inside a bottle, I'm still floating in the sea.
Welcome to Blast on Mike's Fire Rock TV show. Thank you for everybody that has been watching over the last 3 seasons. This is episode 1 of season 4. I want to also thank my friend in Pentagram for letting me use the new lightning in the bottle for my intro and outro. That's what I wanted to say. So anyway, go ahead and introduce everybody to yourself, okay? Who you are.
Okay, I'm Maddie Lane. I'm here because I am Jani Lane's daughter, and I'm also a social media strategist. I just graduated from UNC Chapel Hill with my master's in media and communications. I've also done some music in my time, not pursuing professionally, but I love music. It's in my blood. I love using it as more of an escape or kind of an art form. So I've been recording here and there. I haven't lately, but I'd love to get back into it. And yeah, just figuring out what the next chapter of my life looks like. I'm 27, going on 28 this year. So similar age to your son. So I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Wow. And don't forget your mom's Bobby Brown, right?
So my mom is actually Roanne Brewer.
She
came into the picture after Bobby. So Bobby and my dad had Taylor, which is my half sister. And then he met my mom and had me back in 97. So yeah, but I know her very well. I've seen her actually this past year or 2 years ago. I went to the Cleveland tribute show and performed, and she was there with Taylor. So that was good to see them again.
That's great. I never knew that because I thought both of you were Bobby's children. I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mom, same dad, different mom. So, but my dad has very strong genes, so we look very similar.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and I said, and I came across a video. I think it was on your YouTube of your birthday party.
Oh yeah, I uploaded a few throwback videos from my dad's old flip camera. He loved to record videos of things like that, so I found some and wanted to put them up on YouTube.
And I told my friend, I said, "Wow, she looks just like Jani Lane back then." It was like looking at the mirror image of Jani. So. And as I told you before we came on, I seen Warrant probably 12 times. I always thought my first show I ever saw was Warrant, Firehouse, and Trickster, but it wasn't. It was my third show I saw when I was younger. And from then on, I seen Jani on the Warrant on the Rock Never Stops tour. I was there at Rocklahoma when the big blow up happened. I was there like front of the stage. I mean, so Jani encompassing is a part of my life. And, one thing I've been doing that you might think is cool is I've been putting tattoo of stars. And then I have the signature of somebody that inspired me. And actually, Jani's the next person I'm doing with my tattoo artist.
Awesome. He was a man of many tattoos, so he would appreciate that.
So let me ask you this. What is your most fondest memory growing up as Jani's child?
Most fond memory. There's a lot. I was actually thinking about this the other day because I went to an amusement park with my boyfriend at Carowinds. It's North and South Carolina's like border. It's in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that me and my dad love to do together. So I always have that itch to go at least like once a year because it reminds me of him. We always just felt like kids together, like running around, getting on the roller coasters. We were both adrenaline junkies. He's probably where I got it from. So that was something we loved to do together. He was just like a big kid. So he was just always goofy and loved to just kind of let his inner child come out, which I always appreciated. We went roller skating a lot. So that 10th birthday video you saw was at Skateland in California. And we loved to go like skating together. He loved to like teach me different like sports or like kind of activities like that. So we loved doing that together. He also was a good cook. I didn't cook with him often, but once in a while I would either help him cook or would enjoy his cooking. He loved to do that for the family. So I miss that a lot.
So did you actually, I know you were young, but did you actually get to go out with Jani, with Warren ever, or did you just show up at shows?
I did show up at shows. There was one tour. It was like a I think it was just a few cities. I was in their like tour bus with them. It was like a van that I rode
Mhm.
around with them in like probably 2006 or 7 or something. I was riding around with them. It was the East Coast. I think we might have went to like Tennessee, North Carolina, that kind of area. I don't really remember, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But I do remember like vivid memories of me being in the back of the van with the bandmates, and they're all like, you know, I'm like the little sister on the bus, you know, so they're all like playing around, tickling me, and like just hanging out. And then we'd go to sound check, and I'd always run around the different hallways and go to the break rooms and see the snacks and hang out with the crew, and then obviously watch the show. But I wouldn't really be in the audience. I would usually be backstage. And sometimes my dad would call me out to present or kind of introduce a new song.
Uh-huh.
Or what my favorite song was at the time. I loved Down Boys. I loved Big Talk. So anytime he would play those, he would have me come out and introduce it. So that was always fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was
No,
definitely around for a lot of his shows.
so that was the Warrant with James Kotak and Rick, right? Would that be the era you're talking about in
The area with
2007?
Dario. So Dario was one of the guitar players. And then I think a few other of the original bandmates were still there, but Dario and then Sean Savadny was on keys, and
Mm-hmm.
they all played. There was one specific show that I remember. I don't remember where exactly we were, but I remember we were backstage, and a lot of them brought their daughters, and there was a lot of like kids my age that were part of the crew. So we played a lot and had our little stuffed animals and running around backstage. And then I remember afterwards I had signed a few shirts because people wanted my autograph. I thought that was really cool. My dad didn't love putting me in the limelight or didn't like me being involved too much with that,
Yeah.
but he let me do it a few times, you know, just like signing a t-shirt, kind of innocent, but he didn't let me get in a lot of photos. But those are fun
So,
memories.
so around that time, going into later in the 2000s, he was with they had recorded Ultraphobic, which was the album with Rick and James. So do you remember James very well?
Not really. A lot of that era, I was pretty young. I was like 3 or 4 years old. So I remember my dad being gone a lot because he was recording and touring.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being with my mom a lot during that time. And we would always play his music and dance around and get excited. My mom would get demos sometimes. So I would listen to them before they were released. But I don't remember meeting a lot of them. I remember mostly like the 2009 era, I would say. 2008, 2009
Mm-hmm.
was when I remember the band the most. I was like 10.
Yeah, that would be the Rocklahoma time when they played Rocklahoma, because I had seen him in 2007 at Rocklahoma. That's when I think that's the last time I saw Jani with the band was in
Yeah, somewhere around that time.
2007. He uh he was always personable if you were backstage, you know. He didn't look at you as just an outsider. It was like it's gonna be a good show tonight. Y'all just watch and see. You know, it's like I feel like he had to reassure himself sometimes because he really didn't feel that people around him. I don't know. It's just weird. That year in 2007, I mean 2008. I'm sorry, 2008 at Rocklahoma when the whole thing happened, and you know he played one more show with Warrant, and then I think that was the last time that he played with Warrant. It just seems like he was very uneasy that year. You know, it was like he didn't know where his life was going in a way, but
Mhm.
the fans were everything to him. I mean, you know, I remember vividly talking to him and telling me it's going to be a great show. Don't worry. And I guess that's because he was drinking at the time a lot. I really don't know. And but I don't want to delve into that. But you as his daughter, um, I've seen that you've done some of the tributes and you sung Heaven and Sometimes She Cries. Are those some of your favorite songs now?
Yeah, they're still some of my favorites. And a lot of the ones I chose in the beginning were ones that were most iconic or I thought either resonated the most because Heaven resonated with the fact that he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that a lot of people knew the song. I thought it would be a good starter to kind of kick things off and get the people knowing who I was and establishing myself as an artist, even if it is kind of just, you know, recording covers of his. But then I chose Stronger Now. And I love that. Stronger Now is probably one of my actual, like, really big favorites. Yeah, it also resonates just too because he going through a hard time makes you stronger, and losing him was really hard, but you know, stronger at the end of it. So that one resonated well. And then some of the other ones were more just, I just wanted to keep it going. It was fun and people were really liking it. So I enjoyed it. I've been kind of busy with my own kind of passions and career endeavors and life, but I would definitely love to keep singing in my life for sure.
Now, has that come out yet? Has that come out? Because that was on a tribute album that was coming out, right? Didn't you record
Yeah,
those for
it
a
came
tribute
out.
album?
I believe it's out. Yeah.
Were you pretty happy with all of it?
Yeah, no, it sounded great. They actually let me choose who was on the album and who wasn't. I was kind of like one of the judges. So that was really cool to be able to like give them my opinion. And then that's how it came out. And I got a copy of the album and I'm on it. So, and I actually got to comment on what the artwork should be on the front. So they let me be a big part of it. So that was a really cool project and it came out really well.
You know, Billy Morris was really close to your father too. So
Mhm.
I guess that was a trip to be able to play with him, huh?
Yes, that was very fun. Yeah, he definitely embodies his energy and was very welcoming. And a lot of them knew me from when I was very young, and I didn't remember them that well, so that was interesting. But they were all very, very awesome and made me feel comfortable up there because that was my first really big live performance. I hadn't really done much besides that, so I was nervous, but they were all really good at keeping the vibe high and encouraging me and being very upbeat on stage. And then once I got up there, I kind of just felt like I kind of felt like I embodied my dad in a way. It was kind of like, oh, this feels very natural. Like I'm just kind of up here having fun. And a lot of people commented that I had a similar, I guess, aura or charisma to him when I met him
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. So that was a compliment. And everyone's very complimentary of how my dad used to be with fans and wanting to stay after and talk and sign. And he never made you feel like you were a burden or kind of annoying him. So I guess it made people feel very similar. So I really like that.
Also, good. I seen an interview that you did, and good that you all have been able to get some of the rights back for Janie's music
Yeah.
because I don't think people understand that Janie, up to Ultraphobic, wrote every song Warren ever played.
Hmm.
And to this day, every song Warren plays, except for I think two, are Janie Lane written songs. So it's really cool that you were able to get that back. Was that a lot of hard work to do that?
Yeah, it took a village. I won't get into too many of the like details, but there was some
Mhm.
tumultuous back and forth, and with artists and settlements, and without a will, there's just a lot of complications that go into settling an estate, and
Of
people getting
course.
their hands involved, and it just gets. And I was pretty young; I was like high school into college, so I wasn't as knowledgeable and didn't really have the bandwidth to be as involved in that until later. My sister, thankfully, was able to step up and help out a lot and vouch for us on that. And now the
Mhm.
band has obviously been very good at keeping us in the loop with different things that they're working on, and if they, have deals with different companies and production labels, they're able to involve us. So I do appreciate that. So yeah, it definitely is it's not about the money for me, but it is nice to know that dad would want us to be taken care of and doesn't want that in the wrong hands. So it's nice to, yeah, be able to have some of that part of him.
You're the lucky one. You know, there's a lot of artists out there that they did a lot of stuff and their family members never did, you know, it didn't go on to the family members. Speaking of that, Ultraphobic's coming back out in July on Deco Records. It's red and yellow, beautiful vinyl. Did you have anything to do with that at all?
I did not, but that's awesome. I actually didn't really know about that project, but that's really cool.
You know, of all the albums, that's the one I would want to be re-released on vinyl. I mean, because um, to me, I think that album is Janie in a nutshell. You know, from high to low to high to low. You know, it was just my friend laughs at me because he's a big Warrant fan from the earlier Warrant stuff. You know, and I'm like, no, 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 Ultraphobic's the greatest album that was ever made. So, so let's move towards you, okay? How how would you like people to know you as Maddie Lane, not just this daughter of Janie Lane, but as Maddie Lane on your own 2 feet?
So I'm actually kind of on that journey right now as I'm coming out of school and coming into the real world again. I had graduated undergrad and now I have a master's, but I want people to know me as someone that enjoys life, wants to be able to spread kind of my positivity and authenticity to people. I love to entertain, kind of like he did, more so through video medium than singing and producing music and performing. but I want to be able to be someone that people can come and look at and just like put a smile on their face, or feel like they can relate, or feel like they can take a load off, and they can kind of feel like they know me in a weird way. I love being creative online. I love making videos for my personal account and for other brands. So I love being able to help tell people stories, and I'm trying to get better at telling mine. So I would love for people to follow along my journey on my socials, and my Instagram and TikTok, I guess, would be where I'm most active, but probably Instagram is where you can find me. It's Maddie Lane is my username. We can put that somewhere. You can link it. Yeah, following along that in that part of my life. And then hopefully I'll get back into some other music projects and potentially maybe perform with Warrant. I've been talking to them about that. So although I don't want to, just be known as his daughter, I do still love to, be a part of, that world and be able to contribute where I can and still be involved and honor my dad, because that's just a very cool privilege to have, to be able to do that. So yeah, you can find me kind of online, doing my thing, living my own life, and kind of establishing my own, I guess, legacy. And then I get to honor my dad. So you can find
So
me.
you said you just got a master's degree. So what's that for? What does that entail that you are able to do now?
So I'm a master of media and communications through UNC Chapel Hill, which has the #1 journalism school in the country. So definitely an honor that I was able to be in there and be a part of the program. And now that allows me to have, I guess, more prestige and credibility working with different clients on media and communications projects. So a lot of that will be social media, video content creation, creative direction, and strategy. So that's something I've loved doing. I remember being with my dad. Speaking of, I would always film videos on my flip phone with my dad. And he joked, he was like, "You're like little Spielberg," or like, "You're like a little Steven Spielberg." And that's where my first email came from. My email was little Spielberg lady at Yahoo or something. But I was always on using my phone, filming videos, loved capturing moments and just being a funny personality, engaging with people. Even though I didn't post it anywhere at that time, it was just fun. So trying to channel that now into my work. So it's been a lot of fun.
Are you creating your own company, or are you going to work for a company that does this?
I'm kind of in between. I'm like independent contracting right now. I'm like a consultant essentially for different brands. I have clients that work in partnership with me. I don't have my own company quite yet, but I would like to be able to start my own maybe mini agency at some point. But kind of just working with different clients right now as a freelancer and seeing where it goes. And then if a brand wants to bring me in-house and I work more full-time, I'll do that. But I'm kind of just taking it as it comes. I have like 4 to 5 clients right now actively that I'm working with. So I'm seeing where those lead and having fun kind of along the way.
Now, does that mean like doing trailers for movies, or does that mean you're doing like more hands-on, like making websites and handling social media, or what's that mean?
Yeah, so managing social media accounts, so posting videos and images to social media for brands or for myself. Also managing and scheduling posts, like overall strategy, how a post gets boosted, what do people like, what do they not like seeing, and helping a brand kind of get off their feet and tell their story in an authentic way that engages. Yeah, not so much the website side, definitely more like video content creation. Mainly the video part's what's most fun for me.
Can you help with the algorithms?
I definitely play into and use the algorithm a lot to try to get certain videos boosted, and I use certain tricks and tips to help with that. But sometimes it can be difficult to anticipate exactly what is needed for the algorithm to boost something. But I'm still learning myself, but it is a lot of fun to figure that out. Kind of find what works.
How can people reach out to you? What's the best way?
I would say my Instagram would be a good place. You can DM me there, or if you want to email me, Maddie.lane97@gmail. You can hit me up there if you'd like to reach out, whether it's for another interview or for social media help, or just want to chat, talk about my dad, or talk about life. I always like chatting with people, so I'm down whenever.
That's great. That's great. There's a lot of record labels out there that probably will need the help eventually.
Yeah,
We live in this digital age now.
yeah. Working in the music industry would be really cool to be able to do like media and video kind of for a record label, like you're saying. Even for Warrant, I think they have someone already working on their media and social side. But I told them, I was like, let me know if you ever want to do like a kind of cross collab on that. So maybe that could be in the future.
So you're pleased with how Warren has kept your dad's legacy alive?
Yeah, I am. Obviously, there's no replacement. My dad will always be you know, the OG number one. There's never going to be the same Warrant again, but I do appreciate that they're still, you know, being true to his image and, you know, keeping the energy. The lead singer's a great showman as well, like my dad was. So, you know, it's not about comparing. You know, it's not like he has to live up exactly to my dad or anything, but I appreciate that they're still out there kind of, you know, showing the next generation who Warrant is. And even a lot of people my age, you know, can appreciate and understand who he was and
Definitely.
his music. So yeah, I love it. I'm here for it. And I would love to get more involved at some point if that makes sense in the future.
Definitely. I mean, you know, with any band, you know, when somebody either passes away or leaves, you know, fans can either be okay, I'm okay with this, or I don't understand, you know. And I
Yeah.
think the thing with Warren is Warren with the guy that's in the band now, Robert Mason, happened before Janie passed away. So it wasn't like, you know, Janie passed away and then they got a new guy, you know, because
Right.
Robert was already in the band, you know, at that point. Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about some of the, maybe somebody hasn't talked to you about this, but what do you think of some of his solo stuff and the Jabberwocky stuff and the stuff from Saints of,
Saints of
what
the
you call it?
Underground.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
What do you think of some of that music? Do you think any of that will maybe see the light of day eventually more than what it has?
I would love if it did. I actually talked to a few of the band members about some of Jabberwocky stuff and unreleased music, and I had said it'd be cool if I did covers of those songs or like brought them to life kind of in my own style, but keeping true to him. So I love the songs. I think they're really great. I'm sad they didn't ever make it out. But even Saints of the Underground, I was living with my dad actually during that time when he was
Oh,
recording that album. So I remember he would go to the studio and then he'd pick me up from school, or maybe I would go with him to the studio some days and he would play me demos of each song as they were being made. So I would give him feedback and we would like talk about what we liked about the song. And he had one song from that era. It was called Changes. It's on YouTube, but it's unreleased as well. And that was one that he always played for me that I really loved. And I couldn't find it for many years. And I was like, oh my God, it's in my head. I know the song existed, but it's not out. And I finally found it. But Saints of the Underground is like one that sticks out very much to me because he was playing it with me in the car all the time. So yeah, I
yeah.
love his solo stuff as well. He was just very talented.
Now, the solo album that Cleopatra put out, or Deadline put out, is that some of the music from that, from Saints of the Underground and Jabberwocky, or is that completely solo music that he had made just for that album?
I think that was different. Yeah, and I'm not familiar with everything. There's a lot of things there's probably gaps in my knowledge too of a lot of his music as he wrote so much. So I don't know all of them, but yeah, I definitely Jabberwocky I know and Saints of the Underground. I definitely heard a lot of that. That's on Spotify currently. It's out. So I love
Oh
listening.
yeah, it's some good stuff. Did you ever get to witness him play with Great White?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So earlier when I was saying I was kind of on tour with him that one time, I don't remember where we were, but I remember being backstage and they had kids back there too. Saints of the Underground. Great White was also there. I think for multiple shows I was there with them and got to know some of the guys in the band too. And they were always really nice. So that was always
He was
fun.
he was the vocalist of Great White for what, almost a year,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see that stuff on YouTube. It's on YouTube, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's some of the best stuff I think that I've ever heard of him. You know, so. But anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for talking to me, and I hope you enjoyed yourself for the time we were together here. And you know, I wish you nothing but the best of luck in everything you do.
Thank you.
Um,
I appreciate it.
I think that you probably got a stellar career ahead of you.
I appreciate it. I hope so. We're working on it and it's been a lot of fun. So if you want to follow along and see what's going on, you can come to my socials.